The Service Bay Diagnostic System is a revolutionary new computerized information and diagnostic tool designed to help Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealership technicians in more ways than ever before, combining information and several of your most needed diagnostic and testing aids into one easy-to-use tool. Have you ever lost valuable service time trying to find technical information? Have you ever needed the right testing tool right away? Did you ever wish you could be sitting inside a customer's car at the moment his intermittent problem occurs? Well, the Service Bay Diagnostic System, or SBDS, can help you with these problems and many others. What is the SBDS? It's a powerful computer-based workstation which gives you access to technical information, guided diagnostics, and advanced testing tools, all in a self-contained unit. Now, you might be thinking, I'm an experienced technician, and I'm good at what I do. Why do I need an SBDS? Well, the SBDS is not a substitute for your experience or your abilities. It is a new and better tool designed to help you diagnose intermittence, reduce drivability comebacks, and locate service information more quickly. In short, the SBDS helps you work more efficiently, reducing your lost and often unpaid service time. And the SBDS is easy to use. For most operations, you simply have to touch the SBDS screen to select the information or tools you need. In this training module, we'll go over the main uses for the SBDS. Every so often, we'll ask you to stop the tape and answer some review questions in your workbook. When you restart the tape, we'll give you the correct answers along with a brief explanation. Then, at the end of the module, you'll take a written post-test to measure how much you've learned. Further instructions appear on the first page of the text. Now, we won't be able to explain all of the many functions in detail here, so for further information, consult the SBDS User's Guide. Before we continue, we should also mention that this video program is just part of your overall SBDS training. After this video introduction to the SBDS, there will be 2 additional training units featuring hands-on practice with the actual SBDS hardware. Now, let's take a close look at the hardware and the major uses for the SBDS. Let's start with hardware, then follow with an explanation of the major SBDS functions. On the left front side of the SBDS card, you'll find the central computer processor. You shouldn't have to do much in this area, except maybe install SBDS software updates provided by Ford Parts and Service Division. When you do this, you'll also need the keyboard. You shouldn't need to use it very often. Primarily, it's only used to install the periodic updates. Now, most of the communicating you do with the SBDS will be through the touchscreen monitor. All the selections on this monitor can be made by simply touching the appropriate box or graphic with your finger. There's a printer for the SBDS unit housed in this upper drawer. You can use this printer to make a hard copy of a single screen or to print an entire document like a TSB article. The SBDS cart also contains several storage drawers. Some of these drawers are used to store the adapters, cables, and transducers you'll need to perform the various SBDS tests, while the other drawers can be used for general storage. The boom box on the SBDS is an interface between the SBDS and the vehicle during diagnostic tests. As you can see, many cables and adapters can be connected to the boom box. Notice that the boom box ports are color-coded and marked so that only the correct cables can be installed. The next major component of the SBDS unit is the Portable Vehicle Analyzer, or PVA. The PVA can be removed from the main SBDS unit by disconnecting the cables and lifting the PVA out of its seat. The PVA pendant is a handheld remote control unit which can be used under the hood or on the road. Another component of the SBDS is a small box called the Customer Flight Recorder. This lightweight tool gives you the unique ability to diagnose those difficult intermittent problems that often can't be duplicated or verified in the service bay. Here's how it works. The technician hooks up the Customer Flight Recorder to the DCL connector on the customer's vehicle. The customer is asked to push this record button the next time the intermittent problem occurs during normal driving. This stores all signals to and from the EEC module at the time of the malfunction, and the information is then returned to the SBDS for analysis by the technician. So let's quickly review the major hardware you'll find with the SBDS. The main system components include the SBDS computer, the computer keyboard, the touchscreen monitor, the printer, the boom, cables, and adapters, and the storage drawers. Auxiliary components include the Portable Vehicle Analyzer, or PVA, and the Customer Flight Recorder. In a moment, we'll look at some of the major functions of the SBDS, but first, it's time for some review questions on the components. Please stop the tape here and answer review questions 1, 2, and 3 in your workbook. These questions are for your review only and will not be graded. When you restart the tape, we'll give you the correct answers. Question 1 asks you to identify the components on the SBDS cart as they are called out in the diagram. Component number 1 is the SBDS boom. Number 2 is the touchscreen monitor. Number 3 is the printer. Number 4 is the computer keyboard. Number 5 is the SBDS computer. Number 6 is the storage drawers. And the component number 7 is the Portable Vehicle Analyzer, or PVA. Question 2 asks you to identify all of the SBDS hardware items from the list which are intended for technician use. You should have circled the touchscreen monitor, the cables and adapters, and the PVA and pendant. The computer disk drives and keyboard are not intended for everyday technician use. Question 3 asks what the Customer Flight Recorder is particularly useful for. The correct answer is C. The Customer Flight Recorder is mainly used for diagnosing intermittence. Now, let's look at some of the major functions and uses for the SBDS. For many of the functions we'll show you, it's important to understand a little about the Data Communications Link, or DCL, found in many Ford Motor Company vehicles. The DCL establishes a two-way communications link between the vehicle's electronic engine control system and the SBDS through the vehicle self-test connector. DCL constantly monitors all the electronic engine control functions. Much like a telephone, the SBDS can both send and receive information to and from the DCL. The SBDS can also display active DCL data from the EEC4 processor. Many of the diagnostic tools of SBDS depend on this two-way system to send data back and forth during testing and to determine the proper diagnostic paths. Now, not all the vehicles you work on will have DCL. If you're working on a vehicle without it, you can still use the SBDS by disconnecting the 60-pin EEC4 connector and installing the proper SBDS adapter directly to the EEC4 processor, like you would for a breakout box or EEC4 monitor. Now, let's get back to the major SBDS functions. With the unit properly hooked up, you can turn on the system using the switches in the back. We'll show you the proper hookup and power-up procedures later. When the system is on, the title screen will be displayed for a few seconds. Then you'll get the SBDS main menu. From this main menu, you can select most of the SBDS functions. Usually, you'll begin by identifying the vehicle using the Vehicle Entry module. By selecting the Vehicle Entry module from the main menu, you can add a vehicle identification number, select a previously entered number, or remove a number. If you plan on using the Diagnostics, Toolbox, or OASIS functions of the SBDS, you must enter the Vehicle Identification Number, or VIN, for the vehicle you're servicing. Diagnostics is another important and quite unique function of the SBDS. Selecting the Diagnostics module brings up a group of diagnostic procedures arranged by category and symptom. Once you've selected the correct category and symptom, the module will guide you through preliminary and visual checks, known concerns like TSBs, and exact steps and tests designed to pinpoint the problem. Several other uses for the SBDS can be found in the Toolbox module. The Toolbox module allows the more experienced technician to go directly to specific diagnostic tests using the various testing tools that are built into the SBDS. As you can see, there are various test categories to choose from, such as electronic engine system, ignition system, road test, and general testers and meters. Each category has a number of related test instruments, which are the actual tools provided by the SBDS. We'll explain the Toolbox module more fully in a later segment of this program. Another major function of the SBDS is that it gives you access to vast amounts of technical information. In the Information module, you'll find several subcategories, such as broadcast messages, shop manuals, technical service bulletins, and wiring schematics. In addition to the Information module, you can also call OASIS by selecting it directly from the main menu. We'll give you details on both the Information and OASIS modules later in this program. Finally, you notice the Miscellaneous module shown on the SBDS main menu. This module is reserved for future SBDS enhancements and for use by Ford service representatives. Those are some of the major SBDS functions. Let's quickly look at them again. The SBDS allows you to select, add, or delete a vehicle identification number through the Vehicle Entry module. It provides you with access to guided diagnostics through the Diagnostics module. You can select and use specific testing tools when you select the Toolbox module. In the Information module, you can view various published information, while vehicle-specific information can be viewed through the OASIS module. Finally, the Miscellaneous module is used for service access to the SBDS. We'll show you how to get started on the SBDS in just a moment. But first, here are a few more questions to help you review what we've covered. Remember, you must stop the tape here, then restart the tape when you finish the questions in your workbook. Review question 4 asks you to write in the SBDS module that corresponds to the function given. The Vehicle Entry module is the one used to select, add, or delete a vehicle identification number. The Information module is used to access shop manuals, TSBs, wiring schematics, and other reference materials. The Toolbox module provides various testing and metering tools. The OASIS module allows direct access to OASIS information. The Diagnostics module provides guided diagnostic steps and testing procedures. Finally, the Miscellaneous module is reserved for SBDS service and future enhancements. Now, let's briefly look at how to prepare your site for the Service Bay Diagnostic System. First of all, the SBDS unit must be plugged into a grounded 110-volt AC outlet. The outlet does not have to be dedicated solely to the SBDS. Using an extension cord is not recommended. If you have to use an extension cord, it must be a heavy-duty grounded type. Next, you must plug a telephone line with a standard voice modular jack into the lower rear portion of the SBDS cart. To ensure good data communications, a separate dedicated phone line must be provided for the SBDS, and the line should not go through a switchboard. For convenience, you may want to install an additional telephone near the cart. This will allow you to refer to the screen while talking to the SBDS Support Center. When all the hookups are made, you can turn on the SBDS. First, turn on the cart on-off switch, located in the back of the unit, just above the phone line jack. Wait a few seconds, then push in the PVA switch, located in the back of the PVA unit. And that's it. You're ready to go to work. So now you've been introduced to powering up the cart. Let's go over what you'll do at the end of the day. When you're finished using the SBDS for the day or any extended period of time, you should not turn the system off completely. The main power switch and the PVA switch should be left on, and the phone line should remain connected. This will allow continued communications between Ford and your SBDS unit, and will also keep the PVA batteries fully charged. If you find it necessary to power down the SBDS, perhaps to move the cart to another location or to make room for shop floor cleaning, you must use the following procedure. First, you must exit to the main menu, then touch exit again. You should now get a screen telling you it's okay to turn the main power off. When you see that screen, you should go to the back of the cart, turn off the PVA switch first, then turn off the main power switch. So, let's review the site preparation, powering up, and powering down procedures. The main SBDS cart power cord must be plugged into a grounded 110-volt AC outlet, and the phone cord should be plugged into a single modular jack. The AC outlet need not be dedicated, but the phone jack definitely should be. If you must use an extension cord to plug in the main power, the cord must be a heavy-duty grounded type. To power up the cart, turn on the main power switch first. Wait a few seconds, then turn on the PVA switch. At the end of any workday, you should not turn off the main power or the PVA switch. If the cart must be moved or serviced, you must power down by exiting from the main menu, turning off the PVA switch, then turning off the main power switch. Now it's time to stop the tape again and answer some more review questions. Question 5 asked you to select the answer which best describes the nature of the telephone line used with the SBDS. The correct answer is B. The telephone line used with the SBDS must be a dedicated line and must not go through a switchboard. Question 6 asks you to list the SBDS switches used to power up the cart in the order which they should be turned on. The main power switch should be turned on first, followed by the PVA switch. Question 7 asked you what SBDS switches should be turned off at the end of a workday. The correct answer is D. Except under special circumstances, you should not turn off any SBDS switches at the end of your workday. Now, let's take a look at installing the SBDS software in the cart. Periodically, you'll receive software updates on a CD-ROM, which looks just like a compact disc. Instructions for handling and loading this software are similar to those for new software releases, so we'll cover them together. To install the software or an update, you'll need the installation disk, the CD-ROM disk, and the installation instructions. The updates will be mailed to your SBDS coordinator at your dealership. It's important that you keep an eye out for these updates so that the SBDS will be kept current, and you'll always have the latest tools and tests available to help you service your vehicles. Be sure to verify that the version number on the installation disk is the same as the number on the CD-ROM. With the cart off, you must first install the installation disk and turn the cart on. Then follow the instructions provided with the software and on the screen. You'll need to use the keyboard to install the software. Be sure to carefully follow all the prompts on the screen. When prompted by the SBDS, you must install the CD-ROM next by sliding the plastic carrier and disk into the CD-ROM drive. The CD-ROM will be loaded automatically when you remove the empty carrier. From here, you'll continue to use the keyboard following the instructions on the SBDS screen. If you're installing new software or an update, you won't be able to use the SBDS cart until the installation is complete. This may take a few hours for new software releases. Installation of update material will take considerably less time. Occasionally, a patch diskette will accompany this software update. Instructions for installing this diskette will be included with the package. When the loading operation is completed, the screen will display the All Done message. It's important that you don't interrupt the update process by accidentally unplugging the system or turning the main power off. If this happens, you'll have to start the entire process from the beginning. You must now remove the installation disk, but leave the CD-ROM disk in the drive. Be sure to store both the installation disk and the plastic carrier for the CD-ROM disk on the inside door of the computer. This way, the software will always be available if you need it again. Now, you won't have to memorize these installation procedures from this video. Instead, you should consult the written instructions that accompany each update. However, you should remember that you'll need both an installation disk and a CD-ROM to install updates. It's also important to remember a couple of security precautions regarding the SBDS computer. First, you should never try to use the SBDS computer to run any other types of software or games. Second, you should keep the computer door locked during normal operations to safeguard against accidents and unauthorized use. Any such occurrences could void the manufacturer's warranty. Now it's time to stop the tape again and answer some review questions on the SBDS software and computer security steps. Question 8 asks you what you'll need to install SBDS update software. The correct answer is C. You'll need the correct CD-ROM and an installation disk. Remember to verify that the version number is the same on both. Question 9 asks you to identify the major security concerns regarding the SBDS computer. You should have identified the statements, "Keep computer door locked," and "Do not run any other software on the SBDS." Now, let's examine some of the major functions of the SBDS in more detail. We'll begin with the information module. The information module is entered by touching Information on the main menu. With this module, you have a Ford technical reference library at your fingertips, which means you won't have to fumble through volumes of print materials, and you won't have to leave your workstation. So let's take a look at what you'll find in the information module. There are currently 7 submodules that will appear on the information menu. The first one, broadcast messages, provides service messages that were originated from Oasis. These messages are organized by year and month. The calibration function on the information menu can be used to view vehicle emissions calibration information. This label is exactly the same as it appears in the vehicle engine compartment. The shop manuals provided in the information module are just what you'd expect. Shop manual and volume 8 sections from the vehicle and model year of your choice. No more running back to the bench to look up that procedure, illustration, or specification you need. Another convenient feature of the information module is the Technical Service Bulletin, or TSB function. In the past, many technicians have asked for an easier way to locate TSBs related to a particular vehicle system or operating condition other than the printed TSB indexes. Well, the SBDS can help. After you select Technical Service Bulletins from the information menu, the SBDS provides you with 2 ways to locate TSBs. Of course, if you know the article you want, you can call up TSBs by selecting the year, booklet number, and article number. However, the SBDS also allows you to quickly find articles related to a particular vehicle and symptom. To do this, you would first select the model year, vehicle, the engine, and the transmission from appropriate scroll boxes. After touching Continue, you can now select the category you need, and then the appropriate symptom. Now, watch what happens when you touch Continue. The SBDS has listed all the TSB articles for the vehicle and symptom you selected. You can now scroll through the article numbers on the left until an article that more precisely matches your symptom appears on the right. When you touch Continue again, the article you've selected now appears. You'll learn more about locating TSBs and scrolling through the articles themselves in Unit 2, the computer-based portion of your SBDS training. Now, there are still 3 more items in the information module we haven't covered. Selecting User Guide will provide you with the same information you'll find in the printed SBDS User Guide. Selecting wiring schematics allows you to access both EEC4 wiring diagrams and EVTM schematics on the spot. By selecting the model year, vehicle, and section, we'll look at an EVTM schematic. For these schematics, you'll be directed to an index screen where you can select the specific section you want. Finally, the SBDS information module allows you to bring up information on recalls and other owner notification programs. You'll be able to view dealer letters, technical instructions, and customer notification letters. These are organized by model year and number. So you see, there's almost no type of information you may need in the service bay that the SBDS doesn't provide. Now, let's quickly review the contents of the information module once again. The module includes OASIS broadcast messages, vehicle emissions calibration information, shop manuals, technical service bulletins, the SBDS user guide, wiring schematics, and recalls and owner notifications. Now it's time to stop the tape again and answer some review questions on the information module. Review question 10 asks you to identify the ways by which TSB articles in the information module can be located. You should have circled the first two choices. On the SBDS, TSB articles can be accessed by either the article number or by vehicle and symptom. Question 11 asks what vehicle systems calibration information can be accessed through the calibration function of the information module. The correct answer is D, emissions. The final question in this review asks you to identify the contents of the information module from the list provided. There are 7 correct answers: broadcast messages, calibration, shop manuals, TSBs, user guide, wiring schematics, and recall and owner notifications. Next, we're going to look at the OASIS module. This module is unique in that it requires its own phone line in order for you to be able to use it. You've already seen how to hook up the phone line earlier in the program. Remember, before you enter the OASIS module, you must verify or enter the vehicle information using the vehicle entry module. After you return to the main menu, touch OASIS. Next, select the category and symptom from this screen. When you touch Continue, the SBDS will automatically dial the OASIS number. You can cancel the call by touching Cancel in the pop-up screen. When OASIS has retrieved the information, the OASIS menu screen will appear. You can now touch any of the items shown to look at the OASIS information. These items include broadcast messages, vehicle information, 90-day service history, and special service messages. Remember, only information for the active vehicle shown in the upper left-hand corner will be available. Now it's time for another review question. Please stop the tape here and answer review question number 13 in your workbook. For question 13, all of the answers are correct except one. The OASIS module retrieves information through a dedicated phone line, and this information is based on the vehicle information you enter and the category and symptom you select. The OASIS module does not receive any information via satellite communications. Now, let's continue our discussion of the many uses for the SBDS with a look at the Toolbox module. As we mentioned earlier, the Toolbox module makes a number of testing and service tools available to you through the SBDS computer. The first Toolbox screen asks you to select a category, which is the vehicle system or type of tool needed, and a test instrument, which is the actual tool. You can now select universal tools, like a pressure and vacuum tester, voltmeter, ammeter, ohm meter, or special tools that can measure and record fuel pressure, relative compression, spark duration, and DCL information, among others. The universal tools, or testers and meters, use the roving probes. With many available leads, they can be used to test a variety of components, while each special tool performs a specific test using special adapters and transducers. Now, let's look at a typical Toolbox procedure. Say, for example, you want to perform the spark duration test under the ignition system category. Using the scroll boxes, First, select Ignition System, then select Spark Duration. Then, touching Continue takes you to a screen which asks you to confirm the active vehicle. If the VIN is correct, touch Yes. Now you will be provided with detailed instructions for cable and adapter hookups and other steps needed to perform the spark duration test. If you are unfamiliar with the tool or need more information, you can get a help screen by touching the Help box. Here you can learn more about the tool, the selection screen, the cables and adapters needed, the cable hookups, or unfamiliar terms. Follow these instructions carefully, making sure the cables are in the correct ports and that the correct adapters or transducers are used. When you've made all the cable connections and checked them thoroughly, you can go back to the screen and touch Continue. A spark duration display screen will now appear. When you start the car to begin the test, the display will show RPM and spark duration. As you can see by the display, there is a spark problem at the number 4 cylinder. You can now print the results or exit the tool selection screen to continue your diagnosis. Another toolbox function is Road Test. This allows you to use the Portable Vehicle Analyzer, or PVA. On the SBDS, you must select either the DCL Recorder Monitor tool for DCL-equipped vehicles or the 60-pin recorder monitor for non-DCL vehicles. The PVA itself can be detached from the main SBDS cart. This allows you to record vehicle operating conditions from the EEC module, the transmission control module, and other such items. The PVA unit can be used either in the service bay or on a road test. Make sure the PVA is well secured before leaving the service bay. Once you've recorded the necessary information, you can plug the PVA back into the main SBDS unit and bring up the information on the SBDS screen for analysis. Unfortunately, we can't show you all of the tool uses on the SBDS, but if you follow the instructions on your screen carefully, you should have no trouble performing any SBDS test you try. So now, let's review this toolbox segment. When you first select the toolbox module, you'll be able to choose from special tools, which are used for specific tests only, or universal tools, which are listed as the testers and meters on the screen. Then you must enter or confirm the type of vehicle you're servicing. If you aren't sure how to make the hookups or have other questions about the test you'll be doing, you can call up a help screen for more information. One of the special tools is the DCL Recorder and Monitor. This tool allows you to record vehicle data during a road test or in the service bay using the PVA. Please stop the tape here and answer review questions 14, 15, and 16 in your workbooks. Question 14 asks you to identify the universal tools from the list that are available on the SBDS. You should have circled the voltmeter, ohm meter, and vacuum tester. The relative compression and fuel pressure tests are available on the SBDS, but these are special tools which require special cable and adapter hookups. Question 15 asks you to choose the correct statement about the help button that is shown at the bottom of the screen. You should have circled more information about the tool, information on the tool hookups, and a glossary. Question 16 asks what tool can be used to record test data during a road test. Answer B, the DCL Recorder Monitor or 60-pin recorder monitor is the correct tool for this test. Now, let's look at the diagnostics module in detail. The SBDS can save you a lot of time when it comes to electronic engine control diagnosis. The cart contains all the testing equipment you'll need, plus up-to-date service information. You can even get printouts of bulletins, diagrams, and test results, all without leaving your work area. Unfortunately, diagnostics will not be available for every vehicle you service. The diagnostics module is a guided system of routines and procedures. This means that the SBDS will guide you through different diagnostic routines based on the vehicle information you enter and on the results of each test you perform along the way. Remember, before you can use the diagnostics module, you must enter or confirm the vehicle identification number. So let's say you've entered the VIN. The main menu will return when you touch Continue, as it has here. Now, touch Diagnostics. Once you've entered the module, you must select one category and one symptom from the scroll boxes. For now, drivability is the only category available, so selecting it in the category box is already done. Now, select the correct symptom from the selection screen. For now, we'll pick a no-start symptom, and then touch Continue. If you're diagnosing a no-start condition, the SBDS will ask you to try to start the vehicle and enter the result. Then, as it does with any other symptom selected, the SBDS will provide a list of components or areas that you should visually inspect first. You should make sure that all the items listed are in proper working condition and within published specifications. To get additional information on any of the items listed, touch the button to the left of the item. After you've made sure all the items on the visual inspection list are okay, touch Continue. Now, a list of known concerns will be displayed. These will be special service messages or technical service bulletins that relate to the symptom you selected earlier. Make sure that all the concerns listed are checked before continuing. When you touch Continue after checking known concerns, the SBDS will begin guiding you through the necessary path, providing tests to verify DCL communication, fuel system pressure and leak down, or ignition system operation, among others. Obviously, there are many variations and branches in the SBDS Diagnostics module. The exact path you take through Diagnostics will depend on the results of each test. Now, let's take a minute to review the Diagnostics module. Remember, you have to enter or verify the VIN in the Vehicle Entry module before you can use the Diagnostics module. Then, be sure that all visual inspection and known concerns are checked before you begin the guided diagnosis that follows. Now, let's see what you've learned with a few more review questions. Question 17 asks that you select the correct statement describing the main idea or philosophy behind the Diagnostics module. You should have marked letter C as the correct answer. The SBDS will guide you through specific diagnostic paths. Question 18 asks what you need to do before you use the SBDS Diagnostics module. The correct answer is A. You must verify or enter the vehicle information in the Vehicle Entry module. Question 19 asks you to identify the items provided in the SBDS Diagnostics module. You should have circled 4 of the answers: guided routines, visual inspection instructions, lists of known concerns, and specific vehicle system tests can all be accessed through the Diagnostics module. Parts ordering information is not found in Diagnostics. This concludes our presentation on the Service Bay Diagnostic System. Now, if you have any problems using your SBDS, there are a number of ways to get help. First of all, remember there are help screens available to you for many of the SBDS functions. A second source of help is the SBDS user guide we showed you earlier. Now, if you check these sources and are still stuck, you can always call the SBDS Support Center. The Support Center will ask you a few questions, log your concerns, and determine if extra help is necessary. If the Support Center cannot address your concerns, they will contact a trained representative who will call you back, usually within 30 minutes. Finally, keep in mind that this video is just the first unit in the SBDS training system. Unit 2 is a computer-based training session, which means you will use the actual SBDS hardware to master the use of the SBDS touchscreen. You'll be receiving this unit upon arrival and installation of your new SBDS cart. Unit 3 is an instructor-led hands-on training session, which will take place shortly after the arrival of your SBDS. This is where you will practice using the SBDS for actual vehicle diagnosis. At this point, we'd like to give you a chance to go back through this tape and review any portions that you feel uncertain about, or you can continue on and test your SBDS knowledge by completing the post-test provided with this video. After completion, please keep this test in a safe place until you participate in the instructor-led training session. The instructor will review the test with you at that time. Good luck.